Well, presented by Club Fantasy. Woo! To our Florida friends, I hope you are safe if you can even watch this currently. Josh will not be joining us for that reason. He sent us a message shortly ago. His power got knocked out by Hurricane Ian, so he won't be joining us. Just me and Ryan tonight, but we are here after what could arguably be one of the worst weeks of football in recent history. Obviously, in the young season, it's the worst week of football. It's not too much competition after 3 weeks, but we're going to break it down. We're going to head into week 4 with high hopes, and hopefully we're going to get a dub this coming week. Let's get into it. Welcome into No Punt Intended, presented by Club Fantasy. I am your host, Joe Zollo. Joining me, as always, is Ryan. I normally say your name second, but here you are.
Yeah. This might be the first ever Joe and Ryan show. I don't think we've done that before. So
I think it is, and I don't know if I like you on the left side or the right side.
I was gonna say I was weirded out by a backstage as well. I don't.
Yeah.
This is not where any of us belong.
I'm
That's
conflicted.
better. That's far better.
I'm conflicted, which is weird because we're both on the right side normally.
Exactly. Damn hurricanes ruining the
very
the
conflicting.
flow. Absolutely. But no, happy to be here. Sending the best out to our friends in Florida. Stay safe as possible. And apparently high up, I saw people getting second floors worth of water already. So
second floor, there's a shark in the middle of the street.
Yeah.
It's getting a little crazy down there. So hopefully everyone is safe. And if you're watching, hopefully we can provide 60 minutes of comedic relief for you. So Here we go. Let's start with a comedic relief, shall we? My week 3 notes.
Let's do it.
The first one is a doozy. Let me tell you, Saints suck. That's all I wrote.
Yes.
That is all I wrote. And there's not much more that needs to be said on top of that. The New Orleans Saints look awful so far this season.
I saw an interesting story today that was it? I think it was Terry Bradshaw apparently made some I wouldn't even call it a joke, but he made some joke that Andy Dalton is going to possibly take Jameis's job. And people are defending Jameis. They're Jameis works and works to be a better quarterback, and all he does is get better. And I'm like, are you actually watching this dude play? Because that ain't it. This is not the take. And people are mad at Terry Bradshaw for implying that Andy Dalton may take this job from Jameis Winston. So,
I mean, it's not that hard.
That's what I'm saying. How many times has Jameis been benched in his career? I don't understand the uproar to defend Jameis all of a sudden. So.
And I'm not here to defend Andy Dalton, but career-wise, Andy's had a better career? Question mark?
That's interesting because for NFL, yes, but for fantasy, you'd have to
fantasy
give it to
Jameis.
Jameis.
Not even close. Yeah, fantasy's not even close.
Because Jameis also made fantasy defenses relevant that season.
Which was great.
Yeah, exactly. It was good for all of us.
He made Carolina's defense look really good last week.
Exactly.
Yeah, shout out to that. Even though I lost in that league, I did have Carolina's defense, so it helped me lose less, which was nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Saints are really bad so far this season. Jacksonville is somewhat legit, question mark, is what I put, because I don't know yet. Because it's the allure of the Jacksonville Jaguars, but they're good. And I can't tell if they're actually good or this is just some sort of ruse that they're putting on. But pat myself on the back for Zay Jones so far this season.
Zay Jones looking great. Devin Lloyd looking good.
Yeah. Ryan, you're more in touch with the community. I didn't hear anybody talking about Zay Jones outside of myself being okay. First off, he was not going to be this relevant. I don't want to say oh yeah, Zay Jones is wide receiver 2, but I was saying he was a guy to he's the number 1 option.
Someone else threw it out, and I'm not going to ever be able to give the credit. I remember seeing another take in August because I remember it confirming your take. So there's at least one other person out there who you guys can pat each other on the back, but definitely you did it.
Person. Yeah. It's just it was so quiet, and I've said it before. I was just shocked because he's gotten progressively better each year, and everyone was worried about Christian Kirk. They're like, "Oh, is there going to be 1-on-1 coverage on the number 1 guy?" Well, Zay Jones has already been doing it on the number 2 guy, and he's now seeing the number 2 guy. So yeah, I love Zay
27
Jones.
years old, tied to that offense makes him super interesting. So
I have him in Dynasty.
you should.
Yeah. Raiders are in trouble. It's bad. Like, what is I don't get it.
What's the opposite of patting yourself on the back, Joe? Because that's what you're doing with the Raiders.
Kicking yourself in the nuts is what. Yeah. Did I write that down on here? I think I wrote that last week. I wrote that in week 2's notes. I said, I'm sorry, I'm wrong about the Raiders. So I already admitted.
Oh yeah, I remember you.
I was 2 weeks in. I'm wrong. Sorry, I forgot that it takes people.
You said Josh McDaniels.
Yeah, I forgot it takes people 17 seasons to get used to the Josh McDaniels offense. So, I mean, Chad Ochocinco couldn't do it. Reggie Wayne couldn't do it. Joey Galloway couldn't do it. Why do we think Devontae Adams could do it? Right?
Yeah.
So it blows my mind.
Later.
Yeah, I'm so very wrong about the Raiders. Amari Cooper is apparently good now on the Browns, so that's good to see.
30%.
Jacoby Brissett is his favorite quarterback. Devontae Parker will not do this again. Please don't get fooled. Devontae Parker will not do this again. Don't go out and get him. Don't go out and buy him. Reminder, his quarterback is now Brian Hoyer for the foreseeable future. The only even remotely startable downfield option is Jacoby Myers, and that's because he doesn't go downfield. He stays within 3 yards of the line of scrimmage. So that's the only viable option right now as a pass catcher, and even then, you're not playing him. Devonta Smith over A.J. Brown. That's what I put. I put the chart. Devonta Smith over A.J. Brown. Zay Jones is legit. I also have Ramondre Stevenson over Damian Harris. It's just clear, I think, that Ramondre Stevenson is a better all-around back than Damian Harris. The breakaway speed Harris has by a mile, but Stevenson is overall better. Arizona just feels poorly coached.
I mean, you've been saying that for how long at this point?
Since they hired Cliff Kingsbury, but again, this is reiteration. But it just feels so poorly coached this year compared to previous years. And I don't know what it is, but they just feel less prepared. They don't feel as clean and polished. And like, correct me if I'm wrong, outside of you not having DeAndre Hopkins, what has changed?
Yeah. I mean,
you have the same offense.
You returned JJ Watt because he missed the large portion of, like, you were supposed to be better. Let's never get into the fact that I know it's been bugging you. They don't seem to know how to use Isaiah Simmons, who is just supposed to be this prototype. So
you want to know who's the only person that helped them got their only win? Isaiah Simmons knocked out the football for Byron Murphy to return it for a touchdown. Like, exactly. I don't understand. Kansas City. Nice. We love to see that. We love to see the Chiefs implode. And to everyone saying Eric Bieniemy should still be an NFL head coach, watch the 22 seconds before halftime and tell me if he should still be a head coach. He should not. We cannot be pulling this. Remember when he ran a halfback draw with 22 seconds left on his own 40?
A player came out, a former Chief, and was like, Eric Bieniemy has no idea how a passing game works. He is bad at clock management, and all he does is yell at players. And it's like, maybe these interviews had been revealing a lot of this, and that's why he could never get a job. So,
but no, we're just going to continue to play the race card with him.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah. I say the Bills defense gives Tua trouble, and 5 of them decide, no, I'm not going to play.
Yeah, they didn't have a problem with it.
Yeah, so that kind of hurt. That Micah Hyde, Jordan Poyer, Dane Jackson, Ed Oliver, and one other person I'm forgetting. Basically, their entire starting secondary just said, nah, I'm going to sit.
I feel like losing 2 safeties, especially those 2 safeties, is just damn near the kiss of death on defense. So.
That's arguably the best, the 2 best safeties in the league.
Oh, and it has to be.
Yeah, if they're not 1, they're 2, and I can't think of 2 off the top of my head. Nathaniel Hackett should still be fired. Like, again, this is not an exaggeration. He needs to be fired. Jimmy Garoppolo is still not good.
Surprise.
He had a safety and threw a pick 6 on the same play.
And not just a safety. Let's be perfectly clear.
The Dan Orlovsky safety. The Dan Orlovsky safety. And also, backtracking to Miami. Remember when Pittsburgh went 9-0 to start one year?
And you told us the wheels were going to fall off as quickly as possible.
Yes, and I told you that they were going to be a first-round bounce and that team actually sucked.
Yeah.
I'm riding that wave with Miami right now.
Okay.
You know how lucky they got on Sunday?
Well, I
5
mean,
defensive starters for the Bills out.
yeah,
Okay?
exactly. And
Go ahead.
putting Bills in the heat the way they did. I don't know if you saw that picture. So
Yeah. 100 degrees on the field, right?
Yep.
Piss poor clock management out of Josh Allen and Sean McDermott overall as a team. They punted a ball into someone's ass. You literally and still won. You can't get any luckier.
Can we talk about that in the same week? We saw a new Dan Orlovsky and a new butt fumble.
It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
So funny enough, that same punt has already happened at the collegiate level this year. So that's kind of crazy. But the Dolphins overrated. Like they are a first round bounce.
Either you or Josh actually said that a few weeks ago. It might have been on the Monday show. I don't know. We do so many damn shows now, but you said like, don't get so caught up in Miami. Like it was Josh because he was talking about, do you know how many bad maybe it was you. I don't know. This seems like something you would say. Do you know how many bad quarterbacks have thrown 6 touchdowns and 438 yards or whatever? That's right. And then he threw out Nick Foles.
Mike White last year beat the AFC champion Bengals. Like bad QBs can have good games. Tua, 178 and a touchdown. And don't say, oh, we got knocked out. Bridgewater threw 2 pass attempts.
Yeah, he was back in.
Tua was dump. Jalen Waddle had 4 catches for 102 yards. The other 12 passes Tua threw went for 75 yards.
I will say the Dolphins feel like a better team and they're going to get there, but yeah, it ain't it this year.
So. It ain't it this year. I still don't think Tua is good, and I will stand by that statement. And backtracking 2 weeks ago, remember when you guys said ETN over James Robinson? That was fun. That was a good time.
We apologized on Monday. So
okay, fantastic. Because I saw Josh apologize in a tweet, and I was hoping to run that in his face today. But okay. 2 questions so far. Carrington, what are we doing with CMC? Has him in Dynasty right now. Hasn't been bad, but he also has Baker. I mean, to me, the quarterback's not the issue. And he's had back-to-back 100-yard games on the ground. Yeah. I'd probably sell him at this point.
It's roughly time to sell. Unfortunately, when I went to go look up his stats real quick, he also just got hit with the doubtful tag today. And I think we're going on 2 years of someone who gets listed as doubtful not playing. So nobody's likely to buy Christian McCaffrey on a week where they can't play him. So maybe don't sell him yet. But I think we've probably hit – you need him to play more this season, obviously. And it's a thigh injury, so it shouldn't keep him out for an extended period of time. But we've probably hit it's time to sell CMC territory. Like, all running backs fall apart. It happens. It's time to move on. So
yeah. And in Dynasty, like, I don't think he's winning you a championship this year, right? So, I mean, even on a contender or a rebuilding team, you're pretty much good to go either way.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's not doing Christian McCaffrey things where he's averaging 20 fantasy points a game. He's down at 15. He's down into the average ranks of fantasy right now. Sell price, Carrington. I mean, I would want you have to trade with a contender. And I would want a younger back in 2 or 3 picks, probably at least one of them being a 1 if it's a single QB league. If it's a super flex, they're not going to give you a 1 for Christian McCaffrey anymore. So
yeah. All right, Bean Productions. We don't even need to discuss this. Ryan and I are very much on the side of Keenan Allen.
I'm a Keenan Allen guy.
Yeah, we are both. I'm literally wearing
the jersey. I forgot.
I'm literally wearing a Keenan Allen baby powder blue jersey to manifest him returning to the lineup this week. Shout out to my brother for getting me this. NFL jersey's really strange. I'm wearing a large right now, and it fits me like a nightgown.
Yeah, I was gonna say the shoulders are way off. So.
Yeah, like I'm very confused at jersey sizing. Like I'm a medium in a t-shirt, and sometimes a large. It's jersey size very confusing. But
no, I would want Allen. I would also say, as we say with every trade, though, it comes down to roster construction. I'm only trading away running backs for wide receivers if I have a stable of running backs. Running backs are more important than wide receivers. So
I can imagine if he's looking for receiver help, he probably has it. And if they're willing to take Antonio Gibson,
and he probably was He probably landed Gibson late during the. I'm hoping he landed Gibson late during the depression of Antonio Gibson's value
Yeah.
during draft season. So
Yep. All right. Upsides. So I got to say, we're not like doing horribly on our upsides. The issue
I still
is
like it better. I still like it
I
better, but
like
we
it
are
better.
completely blowing these. But it's so much fun.
And again, we want to preface this. Our records on our upsides, piss poor. But
Awful.
the difference this year compared to last year, where we were above 500 almost every single week, is that last year we needed a quarterback to finish top 15, a running back to finish top 24, wide receiver to finish top 36. Like you were we were picking guys that were like almost obvious choices. So we had to go like on the lower levels of guys. Now we're saying,
Calling our shots.
we can pick Aaron Jones, but we have to say he's like top 5 that week or like.
Well, that's where it all got started. Was the one week where I wanted to pick. He was either Jones or David Montgomery, and I was like, "They're the RB1," and we're like, you know what? Let's do this next year.
So. Yeah, and it's been good. The downsides have been treating me great, so I can't complain. But Ryan, you and I are tied for first at 2-7 so far in the upside.
Fuck you, Josh.
Yeah, it's bad. And last week was tough, but Josh, I will read off his picks. Yeah. He was 1-2 last week. He had Breece Hall at running back 12. After the 1:00 games, he was RB12, I believe, and nobody beat him. That or he was RB12 after Sunday, and then I believe Zeke surpassed him to break into the top 12.
I just noticed that I straight copied one of Josh's, so I'm going to make mine a little harder this week. But keep going.
Okay, fantastic. So Josh went 1-2 last week. Hall finished as RB13. But those don't count as wins. Derek Carr finished 1.9 points shy of the top 10, and I was still wrong. So, TJ Hawkinson, top 5 tight end this week. Josh says Seattle has not covered tight ends well this year. No Swift means Hawkinson's likely the second target in the offense. Jamal Williams, question mark. Yeah. He was on my waiver wire.
Craig Reynolds. Jamal Williams was on your waivers? Oof.
Jamal Williams and Zay Jones. And I got both of them in a $200 fab league for 30 and 22 respectively.
Perfect.
Yeah, and I have Swift, so I definitely needed Jamal Williams.
Yeah.
I didn't really need Zay Jones, but helps. Noah Brown top 24 this week. I've been going back and forth on this guy. I cannot read Noah Brown. Again, great value CeeDee Lamb, in my opinion. He just looks it. And then Rashad Penny scores his first rushing touchdown of the season this week. Okay, that kind of feels like a bitchy cop-out, but sure. Lions have allowed 6 rushing touchdowns to running backs through 3 games, allowed the most fantasy points to running backs, 30.2 a game, 21.6 just on the ground. Pennies and receiving backs look for a big game on the ground. And I don't see any disagreements there. Noah Brown, again, just confuses me, but he's playing Washington, who might have the worst secondary in football. So, good times. Ryan, really? Baker Mayfield over 202 touchdowns? Really? Okay.
I went, so I just actually made my other 2 harder because I just realized how they were too easy. But then I figured Baker was going to be the one that's going to get me in trouble anyway. So.
Okay. Breece Hall, top 10 against Pittsburgh. You just changed that, right?
Yeah, I had him as top 12, realized it was exactly what Josh had, but I think he'll hit top 10 against even a better rush defense, obviously. So
you could have done top 13 if you wanted to.
Yeah, that would have been fun.
Fair. Brandon Cooks finally cracks the top 15 against the Chargers. I am at a crossroads whether to start him over some of my receivers in some leagues.
Yeah, well, I'll talk about that one then. The targets are there for Brandon Cooks. I feel like that's why you can't take him out. 12 week 1, 10 week 2, 7 week 3, 29 on the season, almost 10 targets per game. It's just not hitting. I don't even think they're at a 50% catch rate right now. So the thing is, when you go back and look at the Chargers, with or without JC Jackson, they've given up touchdowns to 5 different wide receivers this season. 3 of them happened to be in the same game last week, but still 5 different wide receivers. And even if JC Jackson plays, he's not going to be 100%. I think that it's Cooks and Mills. We've seen them score touchdowns together. So it's not like there's any mild disconnection here. It's just not happening right now. And I think this is the week he finally gets off the schneid. I think we're going to see over 100 yards and a touchdown. And I think he could easily drop 2 because there ain't nobody else on that team catching the ball. I was all in on Nico Collins and he ain't it. So
So here's the conundrum that I'll put out there because other people might be in a situation like this. I have T. Higgins, Jalen Waddle, Deontay Johnson, Cortland Sutton, and Brandon Cooks. And this is a traditional 2 receiver, 1 flex.
I might have that exact fucking lineup in a league. I'm not joking. Who was it? No, I don't have Higgins in that league, but I promise you, Joe, I have a 4 wide receiver league where I have Cooks, Waddle, Deontay Johnson, Cortland Sutton, and I moved Cooks into the lineup over somebody else. I can't think of who it is right now, but
well, I'm hoping maybe they announce Jalen Waddle out, and that makes my decision easier.
Actually, I moved Cooks in over Sutton though. I don't like Sutton this week. So
I put Deontay Johnson in over Sutton because he's playing the Jets. So again, I'm mixed emotions. My 2 running backs are Najee and Aaron Jones. I'm benching Derek Carr in favor of Marcus Mariota this week, which is a sentence I did not believe I would utter before the season started. But I like Mariota's matchup.
Yeah.
So
Mariota's I'm a lot more interesting if Giuseppe and Connie doesn't, or not Giuseppe and Connie, Myles Garrett.
Myles Garrett doesn't play. Yeah, that's
play.
huge. So I'm gonna cross those with Brandon Cooks. I do love him this week, but at the same time,
I made room for him in all my lineups this week. So.
Really hard to sit T. Higgins, Jalen Waddle, or Deontay Johnson right now.
Yeah, they all have great matchups. You cannot sit T. Higgins. I think he feasts tomorrow with the points Miami's been giving up, and then Waddle right back at it. They're going to probably be battling, and then Deontay Johnson has a great matchup this week. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'm even sitting James Robinson. Like, I can't
Ooh.
Yeah, it's very, it's rough. It's rough. I'm 1-2 with this line. It blows my mind. I hate this league. In this league with the local media in Bismarck, so they're all giving me shit.
I'm gonna quickly throw out for Carrington. You're not gonna like my answer, but I think 1 goes to McCaffrey in the air if he does play. If not, I'll give it to DJ Moore. And I think Ian fucking Thomas scores a touchdown this week.
Ian Thomas. I was flirting with picking him up this week. Let me tell you, I was flirting with picking him up this week. Okay, my picks. Irregardless of what my record was last week, no one needs to know. 0-3. I have Russell Wilson top 12, which feels like a cop out.
I don't think it does. I was going to say that's a ballsy pick.
It feels like a cop out, right? Russell Wilson top 12. Duh, Joe. No, not duh. Like, oh, it hurts. It hurts. Let me tell you. Khalil Herbert top 15.
That's fair. I didn't know what to do with him this week. So.
Yeah, I don't really know either. I mean, he's the lone back in the offense, and
nothing's official with Montgomery yet, Joe. I just want to throw that out there. So.
Oh, I was under the impression Montgomery was out for like 3 weeks.
No, it started off. It got very optimistic. He is listed as questionable, not even doubtful quite yet. So.
Well,
yeah, that would obviously change.
That would obviously change at this point. I am going to put if Monty doesn't play. Fantastic. Okay. And then I have Chris Olave top 22. I don't know why I didn't want to say top 24. So we just
say top 22 makes it super interesting.
Yeah. I just didn't want to say top 24. So he could still be a wide receiver too, and I could still be wrong. Exactly. But great week last week.
So good.
These rookie, and I think, I don't know if I said it or I had a feeling going into this year, you were like, this rookie class is going to be pretty much on par with 2014 with the firepower that was coming. Mike Evans, Odell, Jarvis Landry. I mean, Garrett Wilson has looked money. Drake London has looked money. Olave's looked great.
So what's funny is in Dynasty, everybody was shitting on this draft, but like these rookies have been fun. It wasn't a deep draft, but like the first round, these rookies have been fun. I'm pretty impressed with it. So
I mean, the Breece Hall again, good week. Yeah. Kenneth Walker's flashed on a couple plays. They just haven't given him the opportunity.
So yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the aforementioned receivers I listed, Jahan Dotson looks
monster week 1.
Unbelievable.
A couple of good games or a couple of good plays after that. So.
Jelani Woods 2 touchdown game last week.
George Pickens might have the catch of the season already. So
George Pickens might have a top 5 catch of all time, and that's not even stressing anymore. And also to those that think Chase Claypool's better, shut up. Never could Chase Claypool catch that.
And also, you shouldn't have to catch balls like that. Why is Mitch Trubisky still playing?
No. I want George Pickens to catch a ball like that every single week.
Well, that's fair.
That was so smooth. But yeah, the rookies have been great across the board outside of quarterbacks, because we haven't seen a rookie quarterback yet outside of Malik Willis and garbage time, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So and we haven't seen any of the rookie quarterbacks yet. So all right, let's get into some questions. Alex with the Netflix logo. Trade Dallas Goedert and Isaiah McKenzie for T. Higgins. Yes.
Yeah. So trade Dallas.
Someone's willing to accept that trade.
Okay. You take that as quickly as possible.
You have Debo, Devonta, and T. Higgins, 2 receivers and a flex, and your backups David Njoku. I'm not like the biggest David Njoku fan, but I will lose the Dallas Goedert somewhat production to get half of that on a weekly basis with Njoku, with the occasional blow-up game. And
I was just going to say, I don't even know that it'll be half. So, yeah.
Well, it's just, again, I mean, he had a big blow-up week last week, but then, like, you make it up with T. Higgins. T. Higgins does the work of Goedert and Isaiah McKenzie.
Yeah, Njoku actually has 2 more targets than Goedert right now. So make that trade as quickly as possible before they realize what they're doing. So
100%. Yeah, I mean, if someone's willing to take that trade, you do that. JAC jumped the gun last week and sold high on James Robinson and Chris Samuel for Eckler and Judy. Eye roll is correct, my friend.
Yeah.
I know you're a listener. Oh, he went with Judy. That's okay. That's okay.
Well, I was going to say, that clearly means if he went with Judy, he listened to Josh, because he gave up on James Robinson and took Judy. So this is all Josh's fault. So
Josh's team Sutton. What do you mean?
Oh, no, Josh's team Sutton. You're right.
Yeah. I mean, he listened to him on the James Robinson front.
I was going to say, because I changed my mind on Judy and went to Sutton as well. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, look, if you
I don't
listen
think
to me
Eckler's
the
all
whole
that
time,
bad.
What?
I don't think Eckler's all that bad.
I don't think
very
Eckler's all
down
that
on
bad
Eckler
either.
right now. So
Yeah, I don't think Eckler's all that bad, but we knew Judy could not catch. This wasn't a surprise.
I didn't know Judy couldn't catch.
I knew Judy couldn't catch.
What I also didn't know is I didn't know Russell Wilson was awful now. So.
Again, it's not Russell Wilson's bad. It's Nathaniel Hackett.
Yeah.
Is so bad.
It's so bad.
So bad. All right. He has Khalil Herbert on his bench. If Montgomery doesn't play, which 3 should I start? Eckler, Kamara, Mixon, Herbert. Leaning towards benching Kamara. Well, if you listen to our Starts at Different Day show with me last week, I had everyone yelling at me saying that, oh, no, you shouldn't bench Kamara, because we had a Kamara question. And I said, I guarantee you Kamara didn't even score double-digit points. What did he put up, 7? And he fumbled? Yeah. Oh, classic Alvin Kamara, that bum.
And what I will say is he's playing the Vikings, who give up a ton to running backs, but it's in London.
So that is a full coin flip. You don't know what team is going to show up. And again, it's not like East Coast against, it's not like it's, the Dolphins playing Seattle, where Seattle has to travel 3 extra time zones. Minnesota and New Orleans play in the same time zone.
Yeah.
They're both going to be the same amount of sleep deprived. They're both, well, one's coming off a near win. The other's coming off a depressing loss. I bench Kamara. I'm fine with Mixon. I feel good about Herbert. If Montgomery doesn't play.
Eckler. I love Eckler this week, but
against the Texans, yeah.
Yeah, and then I love Mixon. I would bench Herbert. I'm not ready to ride that train quite yet. But I totally get it the other way around. So
fuck Kamara. In every sense of the word. Like, no. Jesus. Dude, he's the reason I sat in a diner. That one man is the reason I sat in a diner.
Okay, I forgot all about
3 of my top 6 picks got hurt, and Alvin Kamara was putting up 10 points a week.
Yep.
What the hell? Oh, dog shit. Squid's giant. Nice. I didn't read the name beforehand. I just went right at it. So, Squid's giant chode. We'll just say the name fully. What it do, baby? Nice. Start 2 full in a PPR. Bateman, Olive. I want to say Olive every time I see his name. Elijah Moore. He needs his W to get back to 500. Don't we all?
Yeah.
Rashad Bateman, Olave, Elijah Moore. So basically, who are you benching of the bunch here? Bateman at home against the Bills. Olave across the pond in London. Elijah Moore, he's somewhere this week. I'm forgetting.
Jets are Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh, yes, in Pittsburgh. Bateman, benching Bateman.
I'm benching Bateman unless no Jameis. I do not trust Andy Dalton, less so in London. So I would bench Bateman unless it's Andy Dalton, and then I would bench Olave.
Okay, that's fair. I will agree with that as well. I think with Zach Wilson back, Elijah Moore gets back into a groove.
And Pittsburgh's giving a ton up to wide receivers this season. So I think there's room for Wilson and Moore. Moore's even been getting his targets. Now, obviously, we don't know what this offense looks like with Zach Wilson, but cross our fingers that it's at least Joe Flacco-esque.
If Nelson Aguilar can moss a Steelers defensive back, so can Elijah Moore.
Yeah.
Actually, Elijah Moore won't have to because Elijah Moore will be 30 feet in front of him. So, because he knows how to break coverage. Drew, we touched on Eckler, but we feel really good about him this week for the minimum. Again, you have to ride him. He's still a good player. He's still a good player. I don't think he played in the preseason.
We've been talking about this. Like it's weird for these offenses right now. So
week 4, if week 4 comes along and there's not some improvement, then it's cause for concern. If week 5 comes along and it's still stagnant, then it's panic time at that point. Because you'd be your de facto 2 preseason games in plus 3 weeks of football. Okay, week 4, meh. Now at this point, right, you're 3 weeks in, so that's 3 full games. Not time to panic yet if he never played in preseason. Not time to panic just yet.
And he still leads all running backs in targets, and targets are so valuable. And if Justin Herbert, they lose Rashawn Slater this week, they're going to have to get rid of the ball quicker. If anything, this is going to really hurt Mike Williams. You're going to end up seeing a lot of Keenan Allen and Austin Eckler again. So, and it's going to hurt Gerald Everett because they're probably going to have to leave him in to block and protect whoever the new tackle is. So.
Something to add, it is official that the contingency site for Tampa, Kansas City is Minneapolis. So
I also want to throw out, I think I said it live, not off air, that Christian McCaffrey was doubtful. That is one site that is showing him as doubtful, not like Fantasy Pros or any of that right now. So take all of that with a grain of salt. So
thank God.
Yeah.
Okay. Downside. Josh's picks. 2-1 last week. 6-3 on the season. T-Law outside the top 20. He was outside the top 20 in week 1. But QB12 and QB3 the last 2 weeks. Yeah, huge bounce back. Philly allowing the 9th fewest fantasy points. It doesn't really feel like a crazy stretch considering how well Philadelphia has played. But still being outside.
They can get off the quarterback because I don't have the numbers in front of me. I can get them pretty quickly, but I don't think he's been sacked a lot. And Philly is starting to get after the quarterback. So I think that's where it's going to be interesting. Yeah, Jacksonville's actually giving up the fewest sacks in the NFL right now. So.
Cincinnati, take notes on how you should build an offensive line.
Yeah.
Because that's what you should be doing. Antonio Gibson outside of the top 30. Dallas is the stingiest defense running backs, just over 11 fantasy points allowed per game. Snap split between McKissick and Gibson. Gibson's not seeing any more than 50% of the snaps.
And the passing downs are all going to McKissick. After week 1, when Gibson had like 10, they flipped it and McKissick's had 16 or 18 over the last 2 weeks. Like, I don't understand what light switch hit for Ron Rivera. Like, very strange game plan at this point for the Washington Commanders.
And the one that hurts Josh's heart, Cortland Sutton outside the top 36, 5th in the receiving yards among wide receivers, just hasn't scored a touchdown yet. I mean, how many times has he been throwing the ball in the end zone and Wilson just freaking misses him completely?
So bad.
It's so bad. Vegas has slowed outside receivers, but they've been cooked in the slot. Josh thinks this is a Jerry Jeudy game as Jeudy runs 70.7% of his routes in the slot. Sutton only runs 12.6. This is the Jeudy game some have been waiting for. So JAC, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm still
sell him again.
Yeah, I'm still saying. So I'm thinking of who the Raiders have played so far this year, and it has been
Give me 2 seconds.
It has been Arizona, who has
Chargers to open, Arizona, and then Tennessee.
Okay. Tennessee. What passing game do they have? It's non-existent. They don't have a passing game. They've resorted to dumping the ball off to Derrick Henry because they don't have a passing game. Like, Derrick Henry was a PPR back last week. It was unbelievable.
Yep.
The Cardinals, and I hate to, my heart hurts saying this, AJ Green cannot catch anymore. He has lost his hands. He cannot catch. It was blatantly apparent in that Raiders game. I mean, perfectly placed footballs by Kyler Murray, right in his hands. Green just dropped him. I don't know if it's a nerve thing, tendon issue. I think he's done it, and it pains me to say that. I love AJ Green.
Yeah.
That's the outside receiver for Arizona. And then it's Greg Dortch and Zach Ertz running inside the slot and inside.
Yep.
And then in week 1, Keenan Allen runs out of the slot. Josh Palmer is the opposite guy, Mike Williams. But when Allen's out, he's running in the slot. Jalen Guyton didn't do anything, and Gerald Everett had a big week 1. The only guy they shut down is Mike Williams.
Yep.
And we know Mike Williams is prone to awful games. I get what the stats say. They don't have a cornerback that can actually play football, in my opinion, right? Keenan Allen goes down. What are you doing? You're playing high-low coverage on Mike Williams. That's all you're doing.
All day.
All day you're playing high-low coverage on Mike Williams. But you're going into that game plan, right? A whole different thing. Doesn't matter. Mike Williams shut down. You don't need a game plan for the other two guys. You're not game planning for Treylon Burks. You're not game planning for AJ Green. You need to game plan for Courtland Sutton. Now, that may work to Josh's advantage here, but I completely disagree with this, and I think Courtland Sutton has a good game. I'm benching him in favor of some other guys because they have better matchups. Well, but I think Sutton has a good game.
And you kind of brought up as well that because they also give a lot of points to the tight end, so we could see an Albert O game as well. So over Judy.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen.
Unlikely. Or, Eric Saubert will catch 2 touchdowns and ruin everyone's fantasy day.
Albert O, if he could block, wow, that would be great. If he could just, I mean, not even block, maybe just get in the way, because he can't even do that well. And that's the sad part of why he's not seeing more snaps, because Eric Saubert and Tomlinson, correct? I believe
Andrew Beck is the one who's been playing a little more. Yeah,
they can block. Like, that's the reason they're in the game. Ryan, your pick is Tyler Conklin outside the top 10. It shouldn't be a hot take, but he's the tight end 3. It's unbelievable. What is happening to Tyler Conklin?
My favorite part when I stumbled upon this, because I literally had to go back and look at it 2 different times on 2 different days, is the stats aren't even good. It's 18 catches for 140 yards and a touchdown. Is the tight end 3 right now. The tight end in fantasy football is so bad. So bad.
But, and correct me if I'm wrong, he had 8 targets last week and caught all 8 of them.
Yeah.
And I believe, again, a lot of it in garbage time. Who cares? Garbage time is a fantasy football player's best friend.
I will never disparage garbage time for fantasy football.
Oh no, God, we absolutely love garbage time. And I'm just trying to look back. I'm looking back at like the stats so far on the season just to see like how gross this actually is in a PPR. But yeah, it is Mark Andrews, Travis Kelce, and Tyler Conklin is tight end 3. And again, like we talk about like the upper echelon of tight ends, Mark Andrews 64.8 points, Travis Kelce 54.1, Conklin 38.
Yeah.
That's the drop.
It's already starting. Like, it's only going to get worse.
And for reference, tight end 3 to tight end 10 are all within 8 points of each other.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable. Like, that's crazy. And go ahead.
One other thing I'll quickly throw out on that is everyone saw Njoku have a pretty damn good Thursday night in that game. But if you watched, Njoku played a lot in the slot. With these wide receivers, Tyler Conklin is not playing in the slot. He is an inline guy, and it's just not going to happen. So,
and what's even crazier is Cole Kmet is still scoring less than Peyton Hendershot. Peyton Hendershot, remember that guy that was talked about for some reason on the Monday Night Football broadcast for the Dallas Cowboys?
Okay, yes.
Yeah. He scored more points this week than Cole Kmet has scored the entire season, which in reference is just this last week because Cole Kmet only caught his first ball
Just
this week.
decided to score.
Yeah, just decided to score. Oh, congratulations, Cole Kmet. Hey, leading receiver on his team. Tight end 50
with 6 fantasy points.
Tight end 54 on the season, ladies and gentlemen. 3 turnovers for Carson Wentz against Dallas.
I was going to say, I just want to quickly throw the listener in here. Jaden's riding with Wentz for his streaming, and I predicted Wentz turning back into a pumpkin last week, and I think it continues this week. So.
The classic North Dakota pumpkin.
Exactly.
And Devontae Adams' third straight game under 15 fantasy points against Denver. Patrick Surtain is legit.
Yeah, and if you just look at what they've been giving up, it's been really crazy. I think he'll go under 100 yards, but I think he does score a touchdown and keeps that streak alive. But they have given up not a lot of yards and the fewest fantasy points to wide receivers this season, and no single wide receiver, and they've played some decent wide receivers, no single wide receiver has crossed 13 fantasy points against the Denver Broncos yet this season.
That's crazy to think with Deebo Samuel, who gets moved around like everywhere. Yeah. So. All right. Well, I want to get to some questions quick before I go into my downside. So from Jaden Lou, is Devonta Smith, Keenan Allen, AJ Brown, Mike Thomas, and Justin Jefferson.
Congratulations.
Dude, how? Who are your running backs? Which 3 do I start? Dang. Well, Keenan if he plays.
It can't bench AJ Brown.
I can't bench AJ
Brown and Smith. See, that makes this is my thing. We talked about this earlier. This is what breaks my heart about having, and I have Keenan Allen and Mike Williams on so many damn fantasy teams.
It's weird. If I'm picking one, I'm going Devonta Smith over AJ Brown. And I just wrote that in my notes. Devonta Smith over AJ Brown. I think Devonta Smith is ungodly right now with that performance last week.
So what do we think about J-Jeff in London? Because you can't bench Justin Jefferson, can you? I know you and I are both Keenan Allen guys, but I think I bench Mike Thomas and Keenan Allen if this is my wide receiving core. I think I start both the Eagles. Love the Eagles this week.
So spoiler alert. My downside, Justin Jefferson misses the top 24. This is me knowing Kirk Cousins in primetime.
That's fair.
He's now going overseas to play in London.
I was going to say, are we calling 9:30 in the morning primetime?
It's the only football game on.
I get it. Yep.
Yeah, it's the when Kirk Cousins is the only football game on, I believe, like Monday Night Football, he's 2-10. When he's the only football, and granted, yes, there was a second game on, Buffalo, Tennessee. Take that game out, he's still 2-9 on Monday Night Football. When he's the only game on, he sucks. And also, he's playing 8:30 a.m. body clock time.
Yep.
Justin Jefferson has been struggling. I am not the biggest Marshawn Lattimore fan because I think he is one of the hottest and coldest players. He's either on or he's completely off. And to me, there's no between with Lattimore. So if he's on, I'm assuming this is a Lattimore is on kind of game. And Jefferson's been struggling. That being said, I'm probably not benching him, but I'm going to go Smith, Keenan Allen. And the issue is there's 2 guys playing in London, and I'm going to take the better of the 2 guys, in my opinion, and that's Justin Jefferson. So I'm going to go Smith, Keenan Allen, Justin Jefferson. If Keenan Allen doesn't play, Devonta Smith, AJ Brown, Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Like I said, I'm big on the Eagles this week. That's why it would be hard for me to bench the not that Keenan Allen and Mike Thomas aren't big names, but the current big names. So
very fair. Conrad, who should start in the flex, Herbert or Mike Williams? Well, if Keenan Allen doesn't play, that question answers yourself. And if David Montgomery plays, then it really answers itself.
If David Montgomery plays, that's the only way I'm actually changing here. With Rashawn Slater being out and there being issues at tackle now, I'm probably benching Mike Williams for a little bit just to see how this all plays out. And I understand benching Mike Williams is stupid. I'm just going to say it because Mike Williams is boom or bust. And you have to start him every week to take advantage of those boom games. But right now, I don't trust that team, putting it bluntly. So,
if Monty plays, it's Mike Williams, especially if Keenan Allen sits.
Oh, it has to. Yeah, and I don't even care what happens with Keenan Allen at that point. If Monty plays, it's Mike Williams.
Yeah. I would go Mike Williams here. But I'm good. I like her. I have Herbert in my top 15 again if Monty doesn't play. So I'm in on Herbert.
Yeah.
Streaming QB this week. It's ugly.
Yes, it
Kurt Goff or Mariota. Well, Carrington, let me tell you, I'm streaming a quarterback this week too in 2 leagues. I'm benching Derek Carr for the aforementioned Marcus Mariota. So I will go with Marcus Mariota. Ryan?
So I would go with Goff, who, spoiler alert, is a repeat stream of the week. Now, I want to throw one thing out. I am projecting the Browns defense as if Myles Garrett is going to play. And so I actually think the Browns are going to get after Mariota. If Myles Garrett is out because Jadeveon Clowney's already dealing with his own injuries, I may pivot on this. Jared Goff is my stream of the week, and I'm going to stay true to my brand and say Jared Goff. I would not have a problem agreeing with Joe and going Mariota, especially if Myles Garrett is out. So.
I feel good about Mariota just with a little bit of rushing upside. Yeah. First game back in Atlanta in 2 weeks. So crowd rocking. Maybe they do something. I think Cordell Patterson gets shut down fairly well on the ground. So
and dealing with a knee injury, got a rest day today. They're not calling him hurt or anything, but is dealing with a small injury, Cordell Patterson.
Love Cordell Patterson. Your yearly reminder, Cordell Patterson's the best kick returner in NFL history anytime we bring up his name. One more from Carrington. Edmonds or Regrande Stevenson? I don't know if that's a typo or it's just because he's a big dude. But at this point, New England might run the football 76 times.
I think we're getting to the point where we might see that Buffalo game just for New England's entire game plan.
Yeah, for the next 5-6 weeks until Mac Jones recovers. Ramondre Stevenson to me, and honestly, that's not even close.
Yeah, I mean, they're both in 50-50 splits, which is weird to say because Raheem Mostert's getting far too much play with Miami right now, but you saw Edmonds drop the 2 touchdowns. I actually think this is a Damian Harris game, but Joe knows the Patriots more than me, so if Joe says Stevenson, go Stevenson.
Oh, let me be clear. The backfield is a coin flip as well. There is no telling what Bill Belichick wants to do on a week-to-week basis. I just think Stevenson is just a better all-around back, and I will.
You would know this better. I posited this when I was trying to figure out how I wanted to handle Stevenson. Did Stevenson see 5 targets all of a sudden because Jacoby Myers was out, or was there a change in game plan, or do you know?
I mean, with Myers being out, that's one less guy closer to the line of scrimmage. Their next guy that fills in after him is Kendrick Bourne, and not to say Kendrick Bourne is a slouch. But he is not.
He saw more targets this week than
he saw more targets. He's not the route runner Jacoby Myers is by any means. Jacoby Myers better route runner, better hands overall. So I think the dump off to Stevenson, the Myers injury definitely helped. But even if Myers plays this week, Brian Hoyer is in. They're not going to sit back and gun the football down the field. Ramondre Stevenson is the pass catching back in this offense. A lot of people thought J.J. Taylor might come in. The rookie out of South Dakota State, Pierre Strong. They were saying, he might be the next James White, which I think they want to build him into that, but it's not the time yet. Ramondre Stevenson is the pass catching back for this offense. Harris can do it, but by no means is he as good in open space as Ramondre Stevenson is, and I think New England sees that. So that's why I like Ramondre Stevenson, especially in a PPR, because, I mean, it's got to be dump city. They're going to run a lot of screens, and I think they're going to run a lot of underneath stuff. And I think Stevenson is going to be the guy that ultimately takes advantage of that, who's not Jacoby Myers. So
that's fair.
That's what I see. All right. Millie Mills, what are your thoughts? Traded Najee and George Pickens for Cordell Patterson, Rashad Bateman. I don't like it.
I feel like you could have got more out of Najee. We're giving up on these first round picks pretty damn early. Productivity wise, it's probably going to work out really well for you, but when Najee pops, it's not going to feel great. So, assuming Najee pops.
Patterson had a boom week. I think you bought the hype on Patterson, which is what I'm worried about. Now, that's not to say Patterson won't go off again.
I say Patterson's had 2 good weeks out of 3. So
this week he had a career high in rushing yards.
Yeah, and then what do you have? A touchdown or 2 in week 1, right? So
yeah. So career high in rushing yards against a piss poor Seattle defense. Bateman again. Another guy who's been kind of boom or bust. 4 to 5 catches, and it's either 60 yards or 170 with a touchdown.
I will say, Joe, he continued that trade a little bit. I'm gonna pop it up here on the screen because he did end up acquiring Javonte Williams as a new running back, and then Jalen Hurts, who has just been a man possessed. So I hate moving on from Amon-Ra. That's my guy. But if I can get the QB1 and Javonte Williams, I'm pretty happy with that. So, you don't like it,
dude? Amon-Ra St. Brown has looked unreal.
So is Jalen Hurts.
I get it, but like we talk about all the time. What's one of the easiest positions to stream? Quarterback. Like you could pick a quarterback up off the waiver wire and get 17 points. Now, granted, Jalen Hurts is going to get you a lot of points. ARSB's dropping what, 27, 44 points, and you were getting them in like the 8th, 9th round. I love Amon-Ra this year. I don't think it's a bad trade. Let me preface that. Javonte, world's better than Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders will not find the end zone the rest of the season. Dude, it's just Hurts over Amon-Ra. Like that's just hard for me. That's very hard for me. I think this trade was fairly even. I think you lost in the first one.
I won't even go as far as say he lost. Productivity, he won that first trade already because Najee has done jack shit and Pickens has made a catch. But over the season's long run, I just think you could have got more for Najee is the main thing. So
that's fair. And he says he's stacked. He has T. Higgins, Allen Robinson, Drake London, Rashad Bateman, ARSB. Yeah,
So I have situations like that too, where I'm just far too good at wide receiver right now. And I'm like, do I just taunt the league with these guys on my bench, or do I start moving them? So I'm the same way. I'm doing the same. So
I don't like giving up to, and I get this is painful for me to say. I would have probably traded Drake London instead of ARSB. I don't know if you would have gotten the same pull, obviously, like Jalen Hurts and Javonte. But, you know, to me, ARSB is arguably the wide receiver 1 on that team.
Or if you did it in order, you could have just turned Bateman back around if they would have done it for Bateman.
Yeah, I mean,
Bateman's had a couple of big weeks. So.
Yeah, Bateman's had a couple pops. You're not like way worse off. You're not way better off.
No, I think, and you haven't got the best out of Javonte. I think by week 5, week 6, Javonte would have cost you way more than what you paid for him. So
yeah, motherfucker dice dealer. Start 2.
Guy.
Amon-Ra, Olave, Hollywood, A-Rob, DK, Godwin. Bonus, cut any of the above for Brandon Cooks, Isaiah McKenzie, or D-Hop. So let's start with start 2. And I think across the board, I think you and I would probably say ARSB and Olave if Winston plays. If Winston doesn't play, if Godwin's healthy, I'd probably go Godwin.
Yeah. Jeff Okudah has been playing very well, which could create problems for DK Metcalf.
Yeah, I don't like DK this week.
I
was going to put DK in my downsides, but I would have had 3 receivers in back-to-back weeks, and I didn't want to do that. So
yeah, if Godwin is playing, he would be the 3rd on this list. This is not a start week for me with A-Rob, so it's probably Hollywood as the 3rd option if there's no Godwin, just because I'm not trusting Allen Robinson this week. So
I don't like Arizona going cross country. I'm with Amon-Ra and Olave if Winston plays. If Winston doesn't play, Godwin's fine with me. If Godwin doesn't play, I will bite the bullet and probably go with Hollywood. There's just the pop ability is there, and obviously he's the wide receiver 1 there right now. Now, that's the second bonus part of the question. Would you cut any of these guys to pick up Brandon Cooks and play him this week?
That's a good point. I didn't even think about that. I would cut A-Rob for Cooks.
I would cut A-Rob for Cooks. I would cut Allen Robinson, pick up Brandon Cooks, and play Amon-Ra and Brandon Cooks.
I don't even know that I'm 100%, if you missed on Cooks, that I'm 100% cutting A-Rob for DeAndre Hopkins at this point. I don't think A-Rob is a full-out cut. But I think I'd rather have Hopkins and wait and see what happens with that. It can't be fucking worse than what you're getting out of A-Rob right now.
Yeah, no, so. I would honestly, I would cut A-Rob and pick up Brandon Cooks, start ARSB and Brandon Cooks.
I can't believe Cooks is a free agent. That's insane.
Yeah, that's
Probably
Also-
on waivers. Someone
also-
probably panic dropped him this week. So.
Hopkins is a free agent.
If you don't have an IR slot, I could see a little bit of that. Not that it would happen in most leagues, but I can justify
Excuse me.
that
I was
one.
to say in every league I'm in, even with
Oh, me too.
yeah, like he's on every roster. Carrington also not on us. Have either of you done anything dangerous? I'm talking with a dry throat right now. Does that count?
I was to say
I'm gonna drink some water.
Not in many years. I drank far too much at the Run the Jewels concert I was at in New York City. So I suppose that was mildly dangerous.
I flew a drone in Bismarck airspace without any prior
This is the most Russell fucking Wilson story I've ever heard in my entire life.
I told Sierra she looked beautiful when in fact I should have said she looked gorgeous. That's definitely a Russell Wilson thing to say. Yeah. Okay, Millies, appreciate you, man. I know it's the first time I've seen him in here, so we appreciate that. And also for those that aren't subbed, we do jersey giveaways every 50 subscribers that we're at, and I'm going to pull up the YouTube stream right now. We're at 431, I believe. After that, we're probably at 432. We're 18 away from our next jersey giveaway, and as long as you have a public profile, you're automatically entered to win. Every subscriber is put in a wheel. We spin it. We have previous winners. It's a lot of fun.
And if you'd rather not have a public profile, just DM the Club Fantasy channel on, or the Club Fantasy @ on Twitter, or even my @ on Twitter. Don't DM Bismarck Larks.
Yeah. Well, you can DM.
You
Bismarck
can, but
Larks.
follow Bismarck Larks.
Yeah, follow Bismarck Larks. Do you guys like CeeDee Lamb or T Higgins better? I mean, in unison, I think it's T Higgins here.
T Higgins. I'm certainly not as down on CeeDee Lamb as I was 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago though, because Cooper Rush seems to like him. But no, it's Higgins.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it's T Higgins. I hated all the hate that CeeDee Lamb was getting personally.
Yeah, that
hated
was
it.
Clearly a mistake. Cooper Rush does not mind throwing him the ball often. So.
I like CeeDee Lamb, and also he's playing the Commanders this week. Yeah. It's gonna be great.
No secondary.
Yeah. And we'll do last question here before I get into my downsides, because we just kept getting more questions, which I love. Val's the GOAT. Team is Russ, Najee, Saquon, Cortland Sutton, Marquise Brown, Tyler Conklin. At the flexi, it's between Gabe Davis, Ezekiel Elliott, Rashad Bateman. Should he trade Davis and Marquise Brown for Waddle? Yes. Aggressive, yes.
Yeah, and then start Waddle if you can get that trade done by tomorrow night. If you can't get that trade done by tomorrow night, I like Gabe Davis for a touchdown this week. Also, try to trade Tyler Conklin and get a real tight end.
No, don't trade Tyler. I picked up Tyler Conklin in a league this week because I need it. So, well, actually, let me ask you the tight end general over there.
Tight end has been awful for me this season. Let me just throw that out there, but it's been awful for everyone. But go ahead.
Also, fuck CBS. I've been the underdog in 3 straight weeks, and I'm 2-1. So fuck CBS. JK, I absolutely love their platform. Hayden Hurst or Tyler Conklin? Hayden Hurst. Okay.
Yeah, I made the top 5 list. Conklin did not.
Hayden Hurst is back in the lineup, folks. Welcome to the team, Hayden. Okay. Quickly before we get to these last few questions, God, you guys are great. My downsides: Justin Jefferson misses the top 24. I said it earlier for those that just joined. I don't like him going across the pond. It's mostly because of Kirk Cousins in primetime games. That's all it is. That is literally the reason why. Kirk Cousins in primetime games I just don't like. Zay Jones misses the top 24. Yeah. Yeah. Well, he has a piss poor matchup this week. He's probably going to see Darius Slay. So
Slay won't move with Kirk. I don't know how Slay operates typically. So
I mean, he's in the slot. I'm going to imagine that they'd put Bradbury on him or CJ Gardner-Johnson on Kirk.
Okay.
I think if they're going to follow anybody, they're going to follow Zay Jones. He's the bigger, more physical receiver.
And Slay will give Jones fits. So
yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. Cordero Patterson misses the top 16. Just need everyone to just cool down a little bit after a really good week. Cleveland's run defense isn't the best in the world, but it's also not the worst. It depends on what Cleveland Browns team shows up that day.
100%. And literally whether or not Myles Garrett is on that team.
Yes. And especially if Jadeveon Clowney plays, we know how bad of a pass rusher he is. Arguably one of the best run-stuffing defensive ends of his time. Maybe not the best. That's a stretch. one of the better run stuffing defensive ends of his time. So, and that could very well, if Garrett and Jadeveon Clowney don't play, that's a blowout loss for me right there. Let me tell you, that is a blowout L. Yeah. Tell you that. Okay. Before we get to the rest of these questions, Ryan, stream of the week sponsored by Connect Go. Go ahead.
Yeah, let's talk about it real quick. So first and foremost, this segment is sponsored by Connect Go. If you're not familiar, we urge you to check the links in the description. Connect Go is an app that is going to let you connect with some of your favorite fantasy analysts, myself, Jorge Edwards, and Nate Markham from Fantasy and Frame, Stepmom Lauren, a bunch of other people on the app. And what you're able to do is set up text chats or even video calls where all we talk about is your fantasy team. We are there to help you. It's all done for a small fee. It's available on Apple and Android. Links are in the description. I'm not going to get into this too much just because we've kind of talked about almost every single one of these so far. But Jared Goff taking on Seattle. I love that this game's at home and not in Seattle. Jared Goff had a down week last week, and I feel like myself as a fantasy analyst, I make mistakes of chasing the points. So Goff, I really thought he was going to continue to be on an upswing. I saw 200 yards and 2 touchdowns every week. I'm not going to jump off that train just because he was a little down last week, and the Seattle defense can be beat up by quarterbacks. David Njoku against Atlanta, and this is me chasing the points. But the fact of the matter is this: I think the Browns are finally figuring out who they want to be on offense. We saw last week, Amari Cooper still saw a bunch of targets. What we saw in week 1 was Donovan Peoples-Jones with 11 targets, and that was not going to get it done. They are now instead feeding Nick Chubb, feeding Amari Cooper, and they're using David Njoku in the slot, which is where he belongs. Atlanta does not have the linebacking core that's going to be able to cover him quite yet. Their outside corners are great, which could give problems to Amari Cooper, and that's just going to free David Njoku up even more. And then the Colts defense, I don't know what to make of the Colts defense right yet, but I do not trust Ryan Tannehill. Colts are at home against Tennessee. It's a division game. I think the Colts are going to play very well here. There are rumors Shaquille Leonard might be back for this game. That would be very great. Basically, the Colts have went, I think it was 9-0-9 when it comes to defensive scoring. So they're probably due for a bad week. But the simple fact of the matter is this: they are far too good of a defense to be available in more than 50% of leagues. And I really don't like a lot of the other defensive matchups this week. So give me the Colts against Tennessee.
The linebacking core isn't good enough in Atlanta just yet, but it's getting there.
It's going to get there. Troy Anderson seeing significant playing time, Joe. No, I don't get me wrong. I actually like the young linebacking core that Atlanta has built. They do not have anybody yet who can match up with David Njoku. So.
Troy Anderson, 19% snap share, baby. He's growing week by week. Oh, yep. He is on the taxi squad in one of my dynasty leagues. I
love it. I wanted it. So I play in this insane 32-team full offense, full defense league. I had Troy Anderson penciled in as my second round pick. The whole time he went 3 picks before me. I was heartbroken.
Dagger.
Yeah.
Absolute dagger. You hate to see it. Okay. Let's get to some of these questions here. Albert, we're going to go a little over time, but who cares? Would you guys start Lamb over Sutton this week? Probably.
That's tough. I think I would. I don't like Sutton this week, so yeah.
I like Sutton this week. I think the stats are lying to you about the outside.
That's fair. I think coverage. I don't like Sutton because Josh told me not to like Sutton, but I'm still going to go with Lamb.
I am still Lamb over Sutton. If it's between the two, I mean, the Commanders' defense
ain't stopping nobody.
Believe they're allowing the most fantasy points to receivers so far this year. It's if
I'm
not
far
they're
away from that. Give me one.
Yeah, if not, they're up there. If they're not 1, they got to be 2. So
they are 3.
3. Okay.
Baltimore and the Rams, but Baltimore and the Rams are, well, not Baltimore, but the Rams are a weird aberration because they just got destroyed in week 1. Whereas Baltimore got destroyed in week 2. The Commanders have just been repeatedly destroyed.
But Baltimore too, like even in a game where they had a back and forth game, Devontae Parker put up 100 points on them. So, or 100 yards on them. Yeah. So yeah. Same short bench stuff I've been dealing with all year.
He's explaining why Cooks is a free agent. I read it as a question. That's my bad. So.
Thank God, Stela. Ali Boss God. Nice Deadpool avatar. Shout out to if you haven't seen the Deadpool reveal of what's happening with Deadpool 3, you should go check out Ryan Reynolds' Twitter page. It's hilarious. What do you guys rate his team? 10-man full PPR. Hurts, JT, Javonte, T. Higgins, Justin Jefferson, Everett, Sutton. Congratulations on your fantasy championship. Val's the goats. Yeah. People have asked for saying Gabe Davis or Bateman and Marquise Brown for Waddle is too much, but my lineup would be easier to set if I did it. So,
even if it wasn't your lineup easier to set, what have Gabe Davis, Rashad Bateman. Rashad Bateman, I guess maybe, but Gabe Davis, Rashad Bateman, and Marquise Brown done to earn this respect, whereas we've just seen Waddle eat and eat and eat. So 2 of those guys for Waddle is not an overpayment whatsoever.
It's almost like someone told you
Oh,
in the
100%.
Miami Dolphins preview that the better fantasy option for this year was Jalen Waddle.
But
If only other people were telling you that and not just me.
Gabe Davis, 1 good game, 1 injured game, 1 bad game. I'm trying to bring these all up real quick.
Yeah, but
Rashad Bateman,
remember that 4 touchdown game in a game that didn't even count for fantasy points though?
Yeah, Rashad Bateman, 2 decent games, mediocre last week. But again, I'm not super down on Bateman. He would be the one. Honestly, he would be the one I would try to hold on to out of this. And then, I mean, let's put it out there. Marquise Brown has done nothing, and he's done nothing at 140 last week. Still was barely a good game. 140 last week, and this is all before DeAndre Hopkins comes back. He's going to lose target share. It might open him up a little bit more, but not more than 140 yards. I don't think it's a slight overpay at all. Bateman, I think, probably has the most upside of the group, so he's the one I would want to hold on to. So Gabe and Marquise for Waddle to be able to plug Waddle in every week, that's robbery on your part. You are not paying too much.
100%. Elixirs in a standard. Cooks, Kirk, Marquise Brown, Olave, Wilson. I think the unanimous start is Cooks between the both of us.
We're starting 3. Okay. I was like,
starting
3. One of this group? Jesus.
The unanimous second, if Jameis Winston plays, is Chris Olave. Again, in a standard. I would probably go Garrett Wilson. Yeah, I think he has the highest touchdown upside of everyone here.
Yep. Standard, looking for that touchdown upside. Who do the Cardinals have? I feel like I should know this.
The Cardinals playing, they're going cross country to Carolina.
Oh, yeah. And Carolina, while they haven't looked great this year, actually has some pretty damn good corners. So
yeah. Shades. What's up, man?
Shades?
Haven't seen you in a bit. Standard need to. Kamara, Damian Pierce, who came off a really good week last week. Khalil Herbert in the same game, or Jamal Williams. Jamal Williams is a smash play this week, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Anytime in the red zone, dude is the one getting the touches. Man, Pierce seems really good against
putting Pierce ahead of Herbert. I'm going to double check.
Pierce seems really no Joey Bosa. Pierce seems really good now. I like Williams and Pierce. Herbert's a very close third. If Monty doesn't play, Kamara can go fuck himself.
I actually have it the other way around. Yeah, I actually have Herbert slightly ahead because the Giants aren't good against the run either.
Oh, they're terrible against the run. I'm okay with Herbert or Pierce as the 2. If Monty plays, Pierce is your obvious
easiest pivot. But yeah, I would also, especially in standard scoring, I would bench Kamara this week. I don't know that he has this great touchdown upside that we want him to have. I know the Vikings are bad against running backs, but London is bad against football.
Just a shout out to you, Ryan. He just followed you on Twitter. Y'all itty with this fantasy-ish. Nice.
I
Oh, I do. IGHT. So that's my bad. I apologize.
Well, I appreciate it, Millie.
Yeah. Elixirs start 2 in a standard again. Mixon, Kamara, ETN, Madison. You have 3 running backs that suck in standard, Elixirs. And I can say that to you because
I'm pretty sure we've said this to him every time he asks this question.
Yeah, well, again, he's been here a while, so I can tell him that to his digital face. Mixon is the obvious, Mixon's the one.
I'm not starting ETN in standard.
No.
So if Cook is out, it's Madison. If Cook is in, you have to bite the bullet and put AK in the game. So.
I forget. I'm sorry, Elixirs. It's just knee jerk. Did you say Madison if Cooks isn't playing?
Yeah.
If Cook isn't playing? Okay. Yep. There you go. And if Cook plays, it's Kamara by default.
Got to be Kamara. Yeah.
Okay. Big Falcons fan. Move the needle on the Najee trade for me. Marquise went off last week. Yes, he did. Don't buy into it. He's going to try and get the deal done. Also has an offer. I give Najee and get Pittman and Jeff Wilson. Thought initially, no, I wouldn't send that.
No.
You're getting much worse at running back. So
these Najee deals, guys, I understand.
Don't panic.
I was saying, I understand that after the draft, your draft capital doesn't matter anymore. But you spent a first round pick or early second to get Najee Harris. don't trade him for Michael Pittman, who was drafted in the 4th round, and Jeff Wilson, who some guy got lucky and grabbed off waivers 2 weeks ago. Najee Harris is going to at least put up a game or two where you can trade him for more. So.
I talked about this earlier. Najee didn't play in preseason. Yep. So you have a guy who is now 3 weeks in, who has shown progression through the first 3 weeks of getting better and getting more comfortable. He just bowled over John Johnson last week, bowled over him. So, and he has a great matchup this week. Do not hit the panic button on Najee yet. Coy, thought it was Corey for a sec. Should I drop Miles Sanders for Jamal Williams? Yes. Nope. Yeah. I don't even need to read the rest of the question. Yes, you should drop Miles Sanders for Jamal Williams.
I'm not as sold on it as you. I would like to hear for a fact that DeAndre Swift is going to miss these next 2 games before I make that cut.
But. Yes. Nope. That's not even. Dude, fire it up right now. Before we even stop the stream, fire it up right now. Kareem Hunt for Ramondre Stevenson. No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I'd rather have Hunt.
Keep Kareem Hunt, especially in a PPR. If it's a standard, then Stevenson.
I said you want either one, but yeah, Stevenson probably has the better touchdown upside. So.
Yeah. Okay. And also just real quick, because Dice Dealer's here. Despite drafting Eckler, our advice has helped him start 3-0 in a format he doesn't generally play. Nice. Let's go. We'd love to see that. Real quick, my P corner, for those that are new, it's the play fade against the Packers and Patriots. The name will not change. Honestly, I didn't really know this week with Green Bay. My fade is Lazard.
That's fair.
I don't really know. It doesn't feel like a fade, but he scored last week.
Yeah.
My play is Aaron Jones.
Okay.
All your fantasy websites are going to say that New England's 7th best against the run. It doesn't, let me tell you, it doesn't feel like that watching the team. It does not feel like that. And Aaron Jones is going to catch some stuff out of the backfield. They don't have a fucking linebacker in sight that can cover running back out of the
And they got to rebound for what happened last week. Like, we all knew what was going to happen last week, and it happened. So they have to rebound from that madness. So
yes. And also 2-1 last week on my downsides. Forgot to mention that.
Patriots giving up 5 catches for 44 yards on average to the running back. So those boys
baby.
Quite a few. So.
Talking props, Josh is 2-1. Michael Pittman over 69.5 receiving yards. Ryan's 1-2, and he gave up this week. So
I straight up forgot. I had a lot going on today. So
okay. Ladies and gentlemen, went over time, but that's because all of you guys had some fantastic questions, and Coy is going to round us off with our final one. Start Joe Mixon, Josh Jacobs, or Jamal Williams. I would do Joe Mixon and Jamal. Just want to hear your thoughts.
That's what I would do as well.
Yeah, Swifty's out. You're going Joe Mixon and Jamal Williams.
Big assumption on Swift. I think
actually, even if Swift's out, Jacobs' matchup sucks.
I was gonna say, you mean even if Swift's in, probably still
even if
Jamal,
Swift's in, yes, I'd still go Jamal and Joe Mixon because Josh Jacobs' matchup. Ooh, that is Denver's defense.
That's the one thing
real.
Is we keep saying, if Swift's out, but like Swift's clearly not 100%, and so Jamal is likely to see an enlarged workload this week anyway. So
100%. That's everything, folks. Woo! Upcoming show, Sneaky Flex tomorrow, 6:30 p.m. with Kelly. You down with IDP? I will not be there this week. I am hosting a horror film fest kickoff that someone in the Bismarck community reached out to me if I would like to host. So here we are. I'm going to go host that. That should be fun. But we'll have Jorge, Queen Roxanne, and I believe Nate Markham back this week. That'll be a fun show. Starts a different day. Faith is TBD, depending on, a hurricane. That's big time.
Faith's in Georgia, though. She's already got out of the pass, so I think she's probably good. I am definitely out this week because Josh asked me to fill in for him. Josh is almost certainly a no as well. So
okay. I will be there, though. I'm 100% in. We'll have some other guests there as well. DFS and Chill, 11 a.m. Eastern on Sunday. Ryan and Kira with Steve Lawson. Hangxiety, as always, every Monday. Ryan featuring Kira and Josh. And, of course, as it always happens, as we wrap up this show, who should Ali Boscott start in his flex? Judy Sutton, Mike William Kesson.
This one's rough. I know I'm going to agree with you. Josh talked me out of Sutton, but throughout the show, you've talked me back into Sutton. So I think we're both going to say Cortland Sutton here.
I'm going to say Cortland Sutton here as well. I feel like the statistics are misleading on the Raiders secondary. And I'm just going to, I'm going to pull up snap counts here because that's the closest thing that I have on the defensive side of the football in front of my face and just tell you who is mostly out there for Las Vegas right now. Rock Yassin, Divine Diablo. Like,
I think is a converted safety. So.
Jonathan Abram.
Yeah.
Like, Jonathan Abrams, their best corner, and he still sucks.
Well, he's safety.
Is he?
Yeah.
Who the fuck are their corners?
I think Divine Diablo is like a converted. Rock Yassin is definitely a corner, but Jonathan Abram is certainly a safety.
Now I need to officially know. I thought I saw Abram line up at corner.
Maybe that's how bad it is.
here's your official. It's Amik Robinson, Rock Yassin, and Nate Hobbs. Cortland Sutton will either see Amik Robertson, a 4th-round pick in 2020, or Rock Yassin, a 2nd-round pick who was so bad he got traded to the Raiders from Indy for cash considerations. Cortland Sutton's going to have a good day. This is the first real test they're going to have outside, not named Mike Williams, and we know Mike Williams is prone to up and down games.
Yeah, and I would also throw out that all of them are questionable right now. So.
He might fucking see Sam Webb.
Yeah.
God. Yeah, no, I'm in on Sutton this week. Last minute question. What's the QB target should go for because Russell Wilson's selling me? I have pieces to add.
So trade target. I was like, I wouldn't give up on Russ that quickly for a free agent. But if we're talking trade targets,
trade Gabe Davis.
Well, no. He's saying which quarterback should he go after? You got to go after guys who people are going to be willing to part with. The issue is the guys people are willing to part with are probably like Kyler Murray, who's having kind of a Russell Wilson-esque season, but he's doing it a little bit better in fantasy. Joe Burrow popped last week, so that could be tough. Joe, I know you're still out on Trevor Lawrence.
I'm not out on Trevor Lawrence.
The jury is out for you on Trevor Lawrence, not necessarily that you're out on Trevor Lawrence. It might be worth putting a feeler out for Tua, unless that guy who drafted Tua is invested in Tua, because most of the folks who have Tua have him as a backup right now. So maybe a feeler on Tua. I know Joe doesn't love that.
I definitely don't like that.
Would you play Tua over Russ, though, right now?
No.
Oh, interesting.
This week, no. I think what you want this week is you want Trevor Lawrence to have a bad game against a really good defense.
And then you go buy Trevor
Lawrence. Then you go and get him. I think that's what you do.
100% on board with that. Yeah. Trevor Lawrence, maybe Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray might be worth it just because he's going to keep getting it done with his legs, and Russ isn't even doing that right now. So,
yeah. All right, friends, family, aliens, they're out there. Thanks for joining. We appreciate it. They are. It's official. Government.
It's my favorite exit you've ever done. I've never heard that before. So.
Government confirmed. There are aliens. Upcoming articles, DFS matchup report, blurred lines, stream of the week. I'm going to start doing YouTube shorts soonly enough because social media is just fucking weird. Again, subscribe if you haven't. We appreciate everyone that has. Koi, we just saw you subscribe. Thank you very much. I think we've gained 5 just during the show today. Yes, we've gained 5 just during the show today. So thank you, all of you. Anyone over on Twitch, Twitter, Periscope, Facebook, come over to YouTube. Make sure you're subscribed. You can watch elsewhere, but make sure you're subscribed on YouTube because you are going to get a chance to win a jersey with another 14 subscribers. So tell your friends. They join. You get a chance to win a free jersey. Signed jersey, might we add. Do you know who the next giveaway is? I don't know who the next giveaway is.
Cortland Sutton.
Ah, my boy. It is a blue.
After he pops this week.
Yeah, after he pops this week. A dark blue. I remember the jersey now. Dark blue with the red. The same jerseys that the Broncos wore on Monday Night Football or Sunday Night Football this past week. That's going to be the jersey signed Cortland Sutton jersey. Okay. Always remember, defense wins championships, offense wins fantasy football. You can follow Club Fantasy on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Club Fantasy FFL. The URL is clubfantasyffl.com. Always remember, defense wins championships, offense wins fantasy. For myself, Ryan, and Josh, who is not here, we will see you next